welcome to News from the 6. I'm Jasmine Magana.
And I'm Edson Garcia. Thank you for joining us. Today we are focusing mainly on the Vietnam War. And coming up in this episode of News from the 6, we will hear a little background information of the Vietnam War. Next, we will go to Paula for an interview with a fellow Vietnam soldier. Then, we will hear about how soldiers were addicted to heroin and all that and much, much more. Coming up after the break. Stay tuned.
Welcome back to News from the 6. First up, the Vietnam War. The Vietnam War started November 1st, 1955 and came to an end April 30th, 1975. The start to this war was because the North Vietnamese government and the Viet Cong were fighting to reunite Vietnam. They viewed the conflict as a colonial war, fought initially against forces from France and the US, and then later against the South Vietnam. This war was one of the costliest ones, and not only that, many Americans were killed and wounded. There's a little background information about this tragic war. Now let's go to Paula for an interview with John Higgins, a fellow Vietnam soldier.
Good morning, I'm Paula Garcia, and please welcome our special guest, John Higgins.
Help! Help!
Grandma, I forgot to put the
Help!
brakes again!
Now that the brakes are working, hi, I'm Paula Garcia, and I'm here with John Higgins. How are you doing?
I'm good, and yourself?
Good, thanks. Now about the Vietnam War. What made you be a part of the Vietnam War?
As a kid, I've always wanted to wear a uniform, and I've always wanted to be seen as a hero, and I want to give my kids an example of what a great American.
Okay. Were you drafted or did you volunteer?
I volunteered myself.
So how long were you in training?
I was in training for about a year, and then I was called for a special mission in Vietnam.
What was the mission exactly?
It was for a search and destroy in Vietnam, which meant that we had to destroy any village that was on site, because we didn't know if it was a friend of ours or an enemy, so no matter what, we had to destroy it.
So was the mission successful?
It was sadly not. On our way to the mission, we were driving by on the road to the village to destroy, and there was a bomb placed on the side of the road, but we clearly didn't see it. It was camouflaged, and as we drove by it, it exploded. The bomb was about 500 pounds, and it severely injured seven people, and I was the 8th person. And right now I have no left arm and no right leg, and yeah, it was a horrible time.
That's terrible. How long has it taken you to fully recover?
Well, right now I'm physically recovered, but not mentally. I don't think any soldier is mentally recovered yet. War is harsh, and it's not as nice or fun as young soldiers see it, and I think this should be taken serious because I'm still mentally not recovered.
That's so sad. Thanks for being here to share such a sad story, but also a part of history. Back to you, Jasmine.
Thank you, Paula and John. What a story. And now on to how soldiers were addicted to heroin. Edson, what can you tell us?
Yes, many soldiers were addicted to heroin. In fact, did you know that 15% of the U.S. soldiers had developed an addiction to heroin during their years in combat? And 40% of servicemen had tried heroin, and nearly 20 were addicted. The addicted soldiers were kept in Vietnam until they dried out, and once they were brought back home, only 5% of the soldiers that returned from war would go back to heroin, and 95% would leave it behind. And these are some interesting facts about how soldiers were addicted to heroin. And coming back from our break, we'll go on site with Liz to hear about PTSD and how soldiers were affected by it. Stay tuned. Welcome back. Now let's go on site with Liz to hear about PTSD.
Thank you, Edson. The figure of a traumatized soldier was commonly depicted during the Vietnam War. Men who suffered from post-war stress were sent home. Some viewed as heroes, others viewed as murderers. It only took one trauma that led to the involuntary trigger of a stress reaction in the body, which causes a person to feel overwhelmed, fearful, and helpless. I'm here with
Alonso,
Chrissy, Michelle.
and I'm going to ask him a few questions. Do you know what PTSD is?
Post-traumatic stress disorder.
Do you guys know any symptoms?
I know one of them is drug abuse.
A lot of anxiety.
Thank you for your guys' time.
Okay.
Hello, I'm here with Iris, Claudia. What do you guys think that PTSD is? Okay. Sadly, a lot of people are not aware of this disorder. These men need medical help. Remember, every 65 minutes, a soldier commits suicide. Thank you. Back to you, Edson.
Thank you, Liz. That was quite interesting. In fact, did you know that I have an uncle who suffers of PTSD?
Really? How is that?
It's terrible. Whenever we go out for family dinner, he always suffers of anxiety. He always has to have his back to the wall and have to be able to see the exits and the people that surround him.
Really? I wasn't aware of that. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today. I'm Jasmine Gania.
And I'm Edson Garcia, and we'll see you next time on News from the 6. Have a wonderful day. Whenever you get started.
Good morning, I'm Paula Garcia, and today,
Did you know that I had an uncle who suffered of PTSD?
Really? How is that?
It was great.
That's great.
What's the date?